Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. This is the first part of your review for your test later this afternoon. So you should have a handout in front of you from Mr. Hack. We're going to fill it out together, and then you have a handout to start working on. And potentially, if you get that done, you could start working on the review in your workbook, which is section 1.6, I'm pretty sure. Our learning goal, just to review Vertex Form, which basically is the start of this entire first quadratics unit. Vertex Form. There it is, ax minus h squared plus k. Why do we like it? We like it because you can easily read off the vertex, which is h and k. We also can really easily see if it opens up or down just by looking at the equation. Each one of these variables, a, remember, controls the direction. So up, down. And A, remember, is the only one that controls two things. So it controls the direction of opening. It also controls the width. So if it's bigger than 1, it's more narrow. If it's a decimal, it's wider. H controls the left and right movement. This is also the x value of the vertex. K, up and down, also is your y value of your vertex. Moving down, the A. If the A is positive, then the parabola will open up. If A is negative, the parabola will open down. If A is greater than 1, so I don't want to rattle you too much, but if you remember, that's a greater than symbol. So if A is bigger than 1, and that symbol again is greater than, so if A is greater than 1, the parabola will be stretched. If A is a decimal or fraction between 0 and 1, then the parabola will be compressed. H is the x value of the vertex. And H causes the parabola to shift left and right. And I'm just going to add this. So if it appears negative or appears positive, I'm just going to add a little x here. So if it's x minus h or if it's x plus h. So if it's x minus h, it will shift to the right. And if it's x plus h, it will shift to the left. K is the y value of the vertex. And K causes your parabola to shift up and down. If K is negative, it shifts it down. If K is positive, it shifts it up. And then one thing here for clarification, just to make sure, K is not necessarily the y-intercept. Moving on to the bottom half of our. So we already did this, and this. So now we're going to kind of focus on this parabola that I gave you in the picture and kind of coming up with the key information. So first of all, formula for the vertex is always h and k. And if we look at our parabola, it has coordinates, so the vertex is right there. That has coordinates -2, -3. Which means our h value is -2 and -3. Which means if we go over here to our equation, so we can scratch out these f of x's. We use those in the u classes. For us, we're just going to stick with y's, and they just mean y. F of x just means y. So our equation, y equals a x minus h squared plus k. We already know, since h was -2 and k is -3, remember h is always opposite, already we have the opposite of -2 is +2, so x plus 2 squared minus 3. We already have that so far. The only thing we are missing is our a value. And remember, those 3 magic numbers usually for your step pattern. So I'll even write that here. Step pattern is normally 1, 3, and 5. So remember like we did yesterday, if you start at your vertex and you go over one either direction, so left or right, and then you count up. So we go over one and then count up. 1, 2, 3. So we went up 3. Normally we go up 1. And remember, you always multiply your step pattern by your a value. So if we normally go up 1, and this time we went up 3 to get to our next step, then what number times 1 gives us 3? Obviously the answer is 3. We know a is positive since it opens up, and we have an a value of 3, because my first step is over 1 and up 3. So when we go over here on the right to find our equation, my a value is 3. So hopefully everyone is okay with everything on this. It's again a very, very quick review that we're doing. This actually is going to be one of the cheat sheets you could pick from. So we're going to make one this afternoon, and then you'll have a choice. You can either have this one or you can have the one that we make later today. Usually the one that we make later today is the one that's picked, but you could choose to keep this one with you for your test. So at this point you're working on the handout that Mr. Hack is about to give you. Just do the circled questions. As I mentioned yesterday, if it asks you to graph, you should use the vertex and step pattern. You don't have to, but it is easier, and then you don't have to worry about making a table of values. So when you go to make those graphs, you can just make it on that double-sided piece of paper I told you to rip off your handout that has all of the blank graphs on the front and on the back. Then I'll be in there at 10:15, and we'll start working on our practice test, and then we will work on our cheat sheet, or our second option for a cheat sheet after lunch. Then we'll have our test, and it'll be the weekend. Have a good day. See you soon.